Hey guys, I'm Atomazetta, and I'm here to bring you my first place locals Scareclaw OTK, which I played during post Photon Hypernova, and we had the current ban list, so no statue, which was our main issue for Scareclaw. It was the one statue that Flu would put up, and there's no Tearalaments, so now we can use our board breakers, and we don't have to worry about them remaking their board with some crazy stuff. First, I beat a Dogmatika deck with the new Ritual White Zoa. It wasn't too big of a deal. It's White Zoa is unaffected by activate effects, but our Tryhard is a passive effect that makes it into defense, so we don't care too much. Next was our Labyrinth gameplay. I played against a Labyrinth player. I gave him my Labyrinth deck. So he had weight measuring, big welcome, all the stuff. It was a little hard to play. He eradicated me on my first turn. He took out like 4 cards out of my hand because it was just board breakers. So we had to pass game 1. Then game 2, I just stomped him. I just did an OTK out of nowhere, even though he lava golded me. And then next, going first, I did turn 1. And after I did turn 1, I did our Rescue Cat combo. I set up Splash, I set up Defang, and I just was able to beat his deck. And then our last match was Sky Striker. Sky Striker was a difficult one. I did lose the first match, and then I won the next 2 matches. It was difficult. It was a mostly spell-based deck. We run some back row removal, which I did use. It was a little hard though. But thankfully, to our new card Defang, we were able to protect ourselves against the spells and then end for game. So I just want to show you guys this deck. This deck does beat Kashtira, by the way. If I played against a Kashtira player, it would have just been a free win. Kashtira loses to board breakers, and I'm telling you, half this deck is board breakers. So without further ado, let me stop stalling. Let me go into the main monsters. So let's go to our main deck. So we run 1 Visa Starfrost. He is a great target for Arachnophobia, the field spell that we get off Lightheart. And he also synergizes with Lightheart. He's able to bring himself out, destroying Lightheart, and then Lightheart brings himself back because we control Star Visas. So it's a free 2 cards. And we can loop our Lightheart into another Lightheart and grab a second field spell because it's not once per turn. Next, we're going to run 3 Reichheart. Hottest person of the deck, no homo. I love him. He grabs us our spell. So if we're going first, we grab Splash. If we're going second, we grab a Rival or Defang. You could also make an argument to grab Defang going first. We run 3 Defang so we can see it in our deck, but ideally we want Splash and Defang. I'll show you Defang later. Overall, really good. If there's 3 monsters on the board in defense, we get a free draw too, so it's great. Next, we're gonna add the new Scareclaw card. This is Scareclaw support, I want to say. I know people playing Kashtira, but this is mostly Scareclaw support. So in the past when we played Scareclaw, if our normal summon got destroyed or anything, we kind of just lost the game because we couldn't, we lost our normal summon and we can't special summon. We had to have like Reichheart normal summons, search a rival, he gets destroyed and then a rival him. But now that we have Scareclaw Kashtira, if we have him in hand, if our opponent destroys our normal summon, we just banish our normal summon that got destroyed, summon Kashtira, and we play like we never lost anything. And we can make him into Lightheart since he's a Scareclaw monster. Next, 3 Astra, 3 Arco, and then 2 Balloon. I know people run 3 Balloon sometimes. I don't like Balloon. He's the most useless out of them. He's very situational. He does come up, which I'll tell you later. But if you don't know, Scareclaws, these affect your Tryhard, which is your Link 3, and they give them effect. So Arco gives 300 attack for each defense monster you control. They could be the same name. And Arco's ability stacks, so if you have 2 Arcos, it's 600 for each defense. Next, we're going to go to Astra. Astra is different names. Astra, he gives your Tryhard multiple attacks based on different names. He's the most useful out of the deck overall because this allows us to attack multiple times and go for game. And then Balloon, he does battle piercing. And I forgot to mention, but Scareclaw Kashtira can attack and defense. So we used to have to have 3 monsters on our field. So like, for example, Astro, Arco, and Balloon, we had to have 3 of them on field for our Tryhard to OTK. But now we just need Astra and any Kashtira, and you can do that. You can do that all the time if you wanted to. There's a combo with Tryhard that you can loop him over because he's not once per turn and search for the eventually get your Astra and Kashtira on the field, and then we OTK for game because he does 2,600. So because it's 2 different Scareclaw names, our Tryhard would attack 2 times, which is for 6,000, and then 2,600 for 8,600, which is game. Now let's go into our Scareclaw spells. Our Scareclaw spells are going to be 3 Defanging. This is the new Scareclaw card that I was talking about. It's a continuous, so it stays on the field. It prevents your Link, which is going to be your Tryhard, your Scareclaw Link, from getting targeted or destroyed by card effects. And it also prevents Star Visas, which is good if you're running like Twin Saw, Scareclaw Twin Saw, which you need Thesis on the field to, so you can banish. If you don't have Thesis, it's just a double bounce, but you want the banish instead. Scareclaw Defang, if our Scareclaw monsters destroy a monster, we just banish it instead of it going to the graveyard, which is useful against like Bisted Druid Swarm, I think that's the name, the blue one that if it goes to graveyard, you can send a card, so it prevents it from killing our Tryhard. And also, there's another effect. You can banish a Scareclaw Link from your graveyard and then destroy a card on your opponent's field, which is really useful because we'll always have 1 to 2 light cards in the grave that we don't need. So we always get fodder for this, no matter what we do in our combo. Next, we're going to run 2 Arrival. I cut it down from 3 because I feel like 2 is all we need. Usually you use 1 for the OTK, but 2 is in case you don't OTK that turn. It's always good to have a second one. And also if you draw it, it's not bad. So I like drawing it. Not all the time because I always want to see a name instead, but it's good no matter what. And then we're going to run 2 Arachnophobia. As an experienced Scareclaw player, I might say I'm the best Scareclaw player because I've been playing this deck since release only, and it's my favorite deck in the world. I'm going to tell you, don't run 3 ever. There's never a point to run 3 because you have Lightheart to search it. It's your Link 1, you always will search it. And if it gets negated, you can just remake another one if you wanted to. So always 2. The reason why you don't run 1 is because Lightheart is not once per turn. So you can Lightheart, grab Arachnophobia, search Visa Starfire, destroy Lightheart, bring itself back, use Lightheart as material for Lightheart, and then search for your second Arachnophobia. So your turn 3, you have the search, right? So with that out of the way, let me go on to our other spells. So for our other spells, we're going to have 3 Raigeki for the clearing the board. We're going to have 3 Ultimate Slayer to clear the board. This was really good during Tearalaments. It's still good during Kashtira because you can send the XYZ that negates when you send to grave instead. You need with Ultimate Slayer, you target, they can't respond with monster effects, and you have to send a corresponding extra deck monster to the one you're bouncing. So if they have an XYZ, you send an XYZ, etc. Then we're running 2 Lightning Storm. This would be 3, but I just don't have a 3rd copy. You can like substitute it with like one Ultimate Slayer or something. And then we have 2 Cosmic. I use 3, but I kind of like using 2 recently just because I don't like drawing it. But if I draw it, it just sometimes goes hard. So it's whatever, you know. We just want to see our Scareclaw name, so I don't want to go too much into the board breakers, but we have a lot of them. Speaking about board breakers, we run 3 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. It's basically an Ashable Raigeki, which you might not think is good, but at the same time, if it's in graveyard, besides the turn it's sent there, you can banish it and search for a Kaiju out of your deck and add. So it comes up during the long games, definitely, and it's just another Raigeki that we have on our board. So, and especially during Tearalaments, there wasn't too many hand traps. There's going to be more hand traps now, so you can debate whether you want to use this card. I will still use it. I like it. I think it's great, especially since we are running a Kaiju package, which I will show you now. So we run 1 Thunder, 1 Raiden, 1 Sticky, and then 2 of the Mystery Dust Kaiju. Next, we're going to run 2 Paw Desires. We have a lot of 3-ofs in this deck, and we only need 1 Scareclaw name to do our combo, so I love Pot of Desires in this deck. I don't want to take the chance of banishing too many of my extra deck with Pot of Extravagance, because we need our Lighthearts, we need our Tryhards, and I prefer to have the discard fodder for, you know, any, if they're playing Dogmatika, which I encountered, in case I'm using Ultimate Slayer, I don't want to get rid of targets that I need. And then we have our 1-ofs, Pankratops, Change of Heart, Rhoda. Pretty standard. Reinforcement of the Army, Rykart is a level 4 warrior. Rykart's your best card. Change of Heart, I like to take my opponent's like big boss and then use it for my own material. So it's pretty nice. I did that with the Dogmatika player. I took his white Zoa and yeah, I just made it into a Tryhard. And then Pankratops, for obvious reasons, they're always gonna have monsters and you're going second. Sometimes they won't. I mean, even if they're playing Labyrinth, they're gonna welcome Labyrinth and summon Lady Lab, so it's not that bad. And then you can get over certain floodgates because floodgates do hurt our Scareclaw deck, but we have ways to get over them. Defang's a pop, your field spells a pop, Pankratops is a pop, right? Lightning Storm, Cyclone, we have a lot of ways to get over it. So that's just for this. Now let me go into the extra deck. So for our extra deck, we have 3 Lightheart. He is The card that makes this deck work, he is only required 1 Scareclaw or Star Visas. He allows us to grab our field spell. It's just a terraforming, but at 3, it's really nice. That's why we only run 2 copies of the field spell, even though it's crucial. It's not once per turn. You can search for 2 in a turn. Next, we have 2 Tryhard. Because of how packed the extra deck is, we're not going to run 3, but 2 is typically enough. If your first one gets to try to make a second, and if you need to loop for cards, Tryhard is not once per turn. He resurrects a level 3 Scareclaw and then searches. So if you have Arco, you bring the Arco back, and then you search for Astra, summon Astra, make another Tryhard, revive the Astra, search for the Kashtira Scareclaw, and then you have OTK. That's why I'm telling you, it doesn't matter which one you have, you always will get OTK now. So this is for the Scareclaw monsters. Next, we have Shen. I know it's a weird choice. I don't have Baron or Baron because she's very expensive, but this is our other Synchro 10 substitute. I guess the Sky Striker player, this caught him on surprise, and it was very difficult for him because he had to imperm, because if you don't know, Sky Striker wants their spells in the grave, in the sense from field to grave. So they activate their spell on the field, it goes to banish instead. So it's really strong. It also has, you can loop it. If it goes to grave, you can banish 2 monsters and then bring it back. So Shen's really sticky. He's really good. He stops a lot of plays. So that's why I use him. As a substitute, you could also run Ruddy Rose and Black Rose. Ruddy Rose banishes both graveyards, so I would use it against like Tearalaments. It was really fun. But right now, I don't really care about banishing graveyards too much. Next is our Abyss Dweller. We can make it with our Rykart, because Rykart's a level 4. If you normal summon Rykart, search for a Rykart and special summon the Rykart next to the Rykart, you can make Abyss Dweller easily. If we're going first, which is usually why we make Abyss Dweller, we can substitute Parallel Exceed, or we can put in our Dogmatika going first package. Next, we have Underworld Goddess. We can pump monsters out easily. Usually we can get over anything, but this is just like a last resort. Next is Apollosa. Very rarely made because I have other priorities, especially since we're going second. But if we're going first, we definitely can make Apollosa with like Parallel Exceed or something like that. Next is Nightmare Phoenix. I like Nightmare Phoenix on this deck just to get over like Floodgates or something. You can substitute this for Babushka, which you're probably wondering where it is. My friend has my Babushka for his Dark World deck, so I right now don't have Babushka. I think I'm just gonna buy another one. Nightmare Phoenix is just a good substitute. I like using her to pop a back row or something crazy. Next, Garura and Nadir. Obvious fodder for fusions if I grab Ultimate Slayer. It's also good if they get rid of my extra deck. Also, it's really good bait for Kashtira because they'll see the Garura have PTSD, or they'll have the Nits and have PTSD and banish it with the Unicorn instead of like one of the Scareclaws, right? So it's really good bait. Fidget, this is a beast deck, so it's good. It's good if we send her to the grave and then we can loop like the field spell out of our hand because we don't want the field spell. Any card would be better than the field spell. If we want to go first, we can make her. And if you're scared of getting hand trapped, right? Like if you know they have Ash, you make Lightheart, you bait using Lightheart and they Ash it. Then you make Lightheart and whatever you have into a Fidget. Fidget, special summon Rescue Cat, summon 2 more beasts, right? It's just a really good bait. Mariel Logic, this is XYZ I'm talking about. If this is sent to grade, you can target a face-up card and negate it, not just a monster. So if they have a Floodgate, you could just negate the Floodgate too. Really good. And then finally, when Pegasus, another discard target for our Synchros, if they have a Synchro on board. And if a card on your field leaves, you could use Pegasus, banish it, and then you can shuffle a card they have into their deck. So overall, it's a lot of discard fodder, but mostly we only rely on our Scareclaw links to do stuff. But we have some situational cards that we can play.